What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dad Does Sports. The NFL 2021 season is kicking off this weekend. I thought I'd throw out my predictions. This video is specific to the AFC divisions. I will make another one that is specific to the NFC divisions. Let's go through each one. I will go through my predictions and give you a little bit of rationale about why I think that way. We'll get into another video about we get into playoff predictions, Super Bowl, end of season awards. At the bottom of the AFC North, we've got the Bengals. In third place, we've got the Ravens. Second place, we've got Pittsburgh. And in first place, we've got your Cleveland Browns. So the Bengals being in last place, I actually think they're going to be a lot better this year. I think they're going to finish around 500-ish or so. They can't finish at 500 because the NFL now has 17 games, right? Burrow's back. I actually think long-term he's going to be a better quarterback than Justin Herbert in San Diego, or I guess I should say in Los Angeles. They are loaded at wide receiver with Higgins, Jamar Chase, their number one draft pick, and Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon, top 10 running back. Their defense, suspect. Offensive line, suspect. But I think Burrow coming back, they're getting Jamar Chase. I think they're going, just those things are going to vault them into a 500-ish type team. The Ravens, I think they're going to be good this year. They always have that solid defense. They have Lamar Jackson. While I think he is overrated, I don't think he is a top 10 quarterback. I think what he can do with the ball in his hands is really, really difficult for a defense to defend. Their wide receivers, average at best. Mark Andrews, top tight end in the league. Their running backs, they have some issues, right? Everybody keeps getting injured there. J.K. Dobbins is out for the year with an ACL. Justice Hill tore his Achilles tendon. Their backup, Gus Edwards, to J.K. Dobbins, tore his ACL. So they are kind of with maybe Le'Veon Bell to start the season. And he's, 29, 30 years old, really hasn't had a good year since he's been with Pittsburgh. That's a whole other story about he messed up his career. But the defense is going to be strong. The offensive line is strong. Lamar Jackson will win them some games just by himself. So I think they are going to be a good team, but I don't think they're going to be vaulting into the top first or second team in the league. So let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not even sure what to do with Ben Roethlisberger at this point. Future Hall of Fame quarterback, no doubt, but he's 39 years old. He looked average at best last year. It seemed like there were times when he couldn't throw the ball more than 15 yards. I'm assuming with the new offensive coordinator, their offense will change up a little bit and let him throw the ball a little deeper if he can. Nice set of wideouts with Claypool, Juju, Deontay Johnson. If Deontay Johnson can figure out how to hold on to the ball, he is similar to a young Antonio Brown. He's not terribly fast, but he's shifty and has deceptive speed. I really like him. They drafted Najee Harris at running back. He's an upgrade over James Conner. The offensive line has some issues. That's going to be a problem for them until they figure it out. But the defense is what's going to hold them into games. T.J. Watt just signed a new big deal. He's one of the best ends or 3-4 linebackers in the league, depending upon how you want to look at them. Devin Bush comes back from his ACL injury last year. They have a strong defensive line. Their corners are decent. They've got Minka at safety. This is going to be a really, really good defensive team. So that's why I put them kind of second overall in this division. And then you get the Browns. I don't think last season, more specifically the second half of last season, was a fluke. I think Baker Mayfield is vaulting into top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I think Stefanski, their new-ish head coach, is a really good fit for that team. They are loaded at their skill positions outside of Baker Mayfield with their wideouts, specifically Landry and OBJ. Nick Chubb is a top 5 or 6 running back. His backup, Kareem Hunt, is probably a top 10 or 15 running back. So they are set there. The defense keeps getting better all the time. They have solid tier 1 players in guys like Myles Garrett and Ward at corner. This is a really good team, and I don't think the second half of last year was a fluke at all. I think they are going to get deep into the playoffs, maybe at that AFC Championship level, depending upon how things break down for them this year. So let's move on to the AFC West. And this is kind of the Chiefs division to lose, and I don't think they're going to lose it. So we've got the Raiders at the bottom. We've got the Chargers in third. We've got the Broncos in second place. And then, of course, like I said, the Chiefs in first. No surprise, right? So let's talk a little bit more about the Raiders. This is what Gruden's third or fourth year there, and I haven't seen much improvement since he's come back to the Raiders. They have an average offense, and that's probably being kind. Derek Carr, I can't tell if he's really their quarterback of the future. If he's not, I feel like there are whispers all the time about moving on from him, and then they don't, so they keep using him. And he's good enough. He's better than average. He's certainly not a top 10 quarterback in the league, but he's probably in that 15-ish range. He has some games where he looks really good and some games that he doesn't. They've got a nice running back in Jacobs. Awesome tight end in Waller. A lot of teams could use him. He's a top 5 tight end. The defense, again, average at best. So I don't expect them to win more than 5 or 6 games tops. Then you get into the Chargers, which I think they're maybe a game or so above the Raiders. Yes, you've got Justin Herbert coming back. Yes, you've got Keenan Allen, who's a really good wideout. You've got Eckler, who seems to be a good running back. I want to see him take the next step. The job was handed to him last year after Melvin Gordon went to the Broncos. He was injured for part of the year. I'd like to see what he can do for a full year before saying he's a top flight running back. Their defense is okay, but I think they just need more weapons on that team. They have a new head coach, so I'm interested to see how this all kind of comes together for them. But there's nothing on that team that makes me believe they can't get into the playoffs at this point. So let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater as the starter, Drew Lock as your backup. I still think Teddy Bridgewater is a great number 2 quarterback. Like if I had Teddy Bridgewater on my favorite team as the number 2, I would be happy because he's a lot better than 99% of the number 2 quarterbacks in the league. But as a starter, I'm not so sure that's a great fit. Listen, early in his career, he had that 11-5 season, I think, with Minnesota, but I think that was less about him and more about the rest of the team. He filled in really, really well when Drew Brees was hurt for the couple years that he spent in New Orleans, but last year he didn't play that well with the Panthers. I think he is an upgrade over Drew Lock at Denver, but I don't think Teddy Bridgewater gets them deep into the playoffs. Now, that being said, they have a good set of wideouts there. All good young wideouts in Judy and Sutton and Hamler. Running backs are solid with Gordon and the rookie running back that they picked up in the draft. The defense is good. Von Miller comes back. So I think they're going to have enough to get into the playoffs. I don't think they win more than maybe a game if they get into the playoffs. So I think they're right around that cutoff point in the playoffs. If they went and got some quarterback, and I alluded to it in my video about Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton is a little bit of an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. I think with Cam Newton, you at least give yourself a chance in the playoffs to win 1 or 2 games. With Bridgewater, I don't think it happens. And then you got the Chiefs. I don't even know what to say about them. Everybody knows they're going to finish first. They're the most exciting team with the best quarterback in the league right now. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the AFC East. We have the Jets at the bottom. We have the Dolphins in third. We have the Patriots in second place, and then the Bills in first place. So about the Jets, this is going to be fast because I'm not sure what there is to say about them. New coach, new rookie quarterback. They signed Corey Davis. Other than that, though, nothing is very remarkable. I expect them to struggle to win 5 games. Dolphins. Do we know if Tua is good or not? He seemed to be hit and miss in his first season, more miss than hit. They drafted Jalen Waddle. I'll be interested to see what they can do there. I think the pieces are somewhat there for them to be successful. I think Waddle is a nice complement to Parker, but I'm not sure if they have enough to get above 500 at this point. Patriots. I think everybody is terribly excited about Mac Jones, right? Especially after Cam Newton got cut. He's the starter. But let's temper expectations. He's still a rookie quarterback. Yes, we do see seasons like Herbert had last year, where you think, oh my gosh, where did this come from? But that doesn't happen every year. Do I think Mac Jones is going to be a decent starting quarterback in this league? Probably, but is it going to happen this year? Odds are probably not. I think they struggle to perhaps see a playoff spot. You have Belichick, so the defense is going to be solid. They upgraded their wide receiver and tight end spots tremendously in the offseason. So the tools are there for Mac Jones. It's just a matter of, do things come together enough for this team this year to battle for a playoff spot? And I think that's hit and miss. I think they're a 9, maybe a 10-ish type win season for them. And the Bills. Josh Allen, top 5 quarterback in the league right now. They went out, got Emmanuel Sanders, which I think is a great compliment to Steph Diggs. They still have Beasley. The running backs could use a bit of an upgrade. I don't think Moss or Singletary is the answer there. Their defense is very solid, however, and is going to really help their offense win games. It's a great compliment. They're both above average units, so I don't see why they won't win the division this year. All right, last one, AFC South. Texans at the bottom. Jags slightly above them. We've got the Colts in second, and then the Titans in first place. So the Texans, they're kind of a mess right now. We don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. Will he play? When will he play? Will it even be for the Texans? No idea. We don't know what's going on at running back with David Johnson. They've got Mark Ingram as well. The wide receiver core isn't as good as it used to be. Hopkins isn't there anymore. Fuller's no longer there. They've got Brandon Cooks, who I've always thought is an underrated wide receiver, but that's pretty much about it. Tyrod Taylor is your starting quarterback. Again, similar to Bridgewater, I think he is a really, really good number 2 quarterback in this league. Not so much a number 1 quarterback. So what do you do with this team? I think it's a struggle again for them to see 5 wins on the year. And I think Jacksonville, even though I had them in 3rd place, is kind of in a similar spot. I feel like they have a bit more talent on that team. Again, we don't know what we're going to see from Trevor Lawrence this year. Is it going to be a Herbert type year, or is it not? He has some decent wideouts. They have a good running back. The defense is light years from what it was 4 or 5 years ago when they went to the AFC Championship and almost beat the Patriots there. We have a rookie head coach in Urban Meyer, and even though I put the Texans at the bottom of the division, it wouldn't surprise me if the Jags fell 1 game under the Texans. I think they're both 5-ish win type teams. So the Colts. I think there couldn't have been a better place for Carson Wentz to end up after he was basically pushed out in Philadelphia. Remember, this guy was an MVP candidate just a few years ago. He's a good quarterback. I think he just needed a change of scenery. Things went downhill really fast in Philadelphia. He reunites with Frank Reich, who used to be his offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Reich knows what works for him, what doesn't work for him. If they can keep him upright there, if they can keep the short passes going like they had with Phillip Rivers last year, I think this team makes the playoffs. The wide receiver group is good. T.Y. Hilton, who is injured, I believe, right now. Pittman, who looked to be a good rookie wideout last year and didn't really fulfill his potential last year, but I'm looking for big things from him this year. They've got Pascal on that team as well. The tight ends are decent. The offensive line is really good. The defense is one of the better units in the league. So I think with the defense playing as well as it can, with Carson Wentz adjusting to that offense and making sure he hits the right receivers at the right time and getting that ball out, I think they're going to be good enough to make the playoffs. Okay, about the Titans. Ryan Tannehill is an above-average starter in this league. You're not putting the ball in Tannehill's hands to win the game and come back from 20 points down. What makes this team work, is Derrick Henry and the threat of him getting the ball all the time. That opens up the passing lanes for Tannehill and makes him a more effective passer, which is great. Julio Jones addition was a nice signing. It's not the Julio Jones from 3, 4, 5 years ago, but he's still a really good wideout. Their defense is solid. Offensive line is solid. I can't see a team in this division really challenging them for the division title this year. I think by the time the Colts kind of figure it out with Wentz, I think it's going to be too late, and Tennessee's already going to have a multiple game lead on them. So I expect Tennessee to win this pretty handily.